Shalom, everyone, and welcome to my holy channel. So, this is part three of an ongoing series exposing the evil amateur charlatan Yirah. Now, some of you will probably be excited that this is actually going to be a teaching, so enjoy this video because it's going to be an extremely esoteric teaching. And the reason I'm giving this very powerful esoteric teaching of the highest order is essentially to expose the immense, gargantuan stupidity and ignorance of Yirah. So before I get into the essence of this very esoteric teaching, just please bear with me and fancy me here for a few short minutes. I have a few preliminary remarks to make. So at this point, I've uploaded two parts exposing Yirah. At this point, the battle is over. He has been completely destroyed and demolished. It's over. This is just the final cherry on the top in just completely exposing the immense stupidity and ignorance of Yirah. And as you've probably noticed, anyone who bothered to go to his channel, hopefully most of you don't even bother to go to his channel anymore. It's not worth it. But he just uploaded a video in response to part two, basically claiming that I'm anti-Semitic. Now, everyone here knows that I'm a Jew, and it absolutely makes no sense to call me anti-Semitic. I've done more for the state of Israel than Yirah will probably ever do in an entire lifetime. Okay, he's not even a real Jew to begin with. Plus, everyone knows that I'm a full-blown Zionist pig, to say the least. So, and I have a lot of family that lives in Israel on top of that. So his remarks, what he has to say now, I mean, it's at this point, any video that he now uploads, it's just very pathetic, right? At this point, him making videos on me is just, extraordinarily pathetic, given that at this point he's been completely demolished, destroyed, and exposed. Now, he also claims that I'm anti-Semitic because I'm on record explicitly stating that, a lot of Jews are going to be killed. Now, that's just me prophesying, okay, and predicting the future, what I already know is going to happen, that there's going to be a Holocaust 2.0. This is Christianity 101. You ask any serious Christian, they will tell you that a Holocaust 2.0 is going to happen. The writing is on the wall. Because the Jewish people are my people and I love all of them, this is me warning them of what's going to happen. This is not me saying I'm personally going to kill all the Jews, that I hate Jews, or it's me warning them. All I'm saying in that video is warning about what's going to happen very soon in the future. So again, Yirah's stupidity and ignorance has just been completely exposed. He's at this point, he's just sinking lower and lower and lower, and the battle is over. Yirah, if you're listening, you've been completely demolished and destroyed. Stop while you're ahead of yourself. You're just digging a deeper pit for yourself at this point, okay? Now, the last final quick remark I want to make is that there's this very adamant supporter of Yirah who goes by the YouTube moniker Jacko Johan. I like to call him Yakko the Wacko. Because at this point, I was hoping that he would be intelligent enough to be able to see all through the charlatan facade of Yirah. And Yakko the Wacko, if you're listening, this is an individual who, used to be a drug addict. And it's very unfortunate that I think the drugs, are still affecting him, that he's not able to have, clear spiritual discernment, on the matter. And, I know, Yakko the Wacko, that, you have a good soul, a good heart deep down inside, and that you're just very easily gullible and deceived by Yirah, and it's very, very sad. So if anyone wants to reach out to Yakko the Wacko and help him snap out of it, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the essence of the matter. So essentially, Yirah claims to be a 32nd degree Freemason. Now, as we all know, Freemasonry has been heavily and mostly diluted at this point, and it's basically a joke at this point. Case in point, Yirah being a 32nd degree Freemason, if he even is one, okay? Yirah is just another impure, very ignorant, uninitiated Western occultist, right? This is case in point that Freemasonry is a joke, right? Here we have Yirah, teaching at a Masonic lodge. So all of you who go to Yirah's channel are following him. I mean, do you know that you're following an impure, uninitiated Western occultist who's a Freemason, right? You got to be a Freemason, to enter this lodge that he entered into. So he's definitely a Freemason of some degree. But he's a very low degree Freemason because he's very ignorant, very stupid, very uninitiated, as I'm going to demonstrate and prove to you here very shortly. So basically, all of you who are going to Yirah channel, just know you're dealing with an impure Freemason. Do you really want to be learning from a really stupid, uninitiated, impure, unholy Freemason? I mean, come on, guys. The writing is on the wall. You got to be really stupid. You got to be really, really, really stupid. He has this video on his channel, right, showing that he's a Freemason. And we know, everyone at this point knows that Freemasonry is a joke, that Freemason is full of people who are evil and stupid, you know, etc. The list goes on. I don't got time for this. You should already know this. If you don't, you're really gullible, you're really stupid, you're really clueless, okay? Now, I want to first begin by giving high praise and thanks to the only other Grandmaster that I know besides myself, who is none other than Harab Yaakov Leib Cohen, HaKohen. So this guy was the highest Grandmaster of our generation. He recently passed away. Peace be upon him. May his soul, you know, rest in peace. I know his soul is resting in peace. And, you know, I owe part of my holy initiation, you know, to him. He was a ridiculously highly initiated Grandmaster who, you know, was associated with some of the highest, most powerful secret orders, very well respected, you know, occultist, Kabbalist, magician, you know, etc. I mean, I could go a very long time just praising, you know, what a holy Zadik and ridiculously highly initiated, you know, magician and Grandmaster this guy was. Now, he was associated with some very, very powerful secret orders of the highest order. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So I want to ask all of you listening a question. Let's see how intelligent and initiated some of you are. Who is the highest, most initiated alchemist of the past 500 years? Do any of you know the answer to that question? The answer is Chaim Vital. Chaim Vital was a Grandmaster alchemist. This is very well known among the upper echelon of Jews, Rabbanon, and Masters and Grandmasters. And within the Holy Illuminati, it's very well known. He published some very, very, very esoteric works on alchemy, which I personally own. And that only a handful of people, quite honestly, own. Yirah doesn't know any of this, by the way. He's very stupid. Now, Chaim Vital, this is I'm going to give you a nice little very esoteric teaching here, what's going to begin here going forward. So, and by the way, this is known by the highest echelon of scholars and Kabbalists, and within the Holy Illuminati, of course, which is that Chaim Vital's son Shemuel, you know, ended up also going to Egypt, and when he was there, he was hosted by an Egyptian Grandmaster who was a Shabbatean who goes by the name of Rab Chalebi Raphael Yosef. Rab Chalebi Raphael Yosef was an Egyptian Shabbatean Grandmaster who hosted Shemuel and Chaim Vital's family. So what happened was that, you know, Chaim Vital became very famous, right? Because he was known, he was part of the Holy Order of the Zoharim. He was part of the Illuminati. So he was very famous, very well known among the Illuminati and among the ancient bloodlines. And so this is why he was treated very well, and he was hosted by the Grandmasters and the Illuminati who were based in Egypt at that time. And so what happened was that when Shabbatai Zvi came on the scene, because this is all spiritual, right? This is all decreed by Chadosh Baruch Hu. Everything was set in place, right? Everything was spiritually set in place by the holy angels, you know, etc. And so Chaim Vital ended up initiating and passing along the most ancient esoteric teachings to the Shabbatean Grandmasters, and what would be termed at that time the Holy Jewish Illuminati. So this is why the Shabbateans were considered the most initiated and the greatest, was because they had first direct open access to all of the ancient most secret writings that were in the possession of the Arizal and Chaim Vital. Okay? This is very well known. If you've done your research, if you've done your homework, if you're highly initiated, you know all of this, right? Okay? So when we fast forward to Yaakov Frank, we have to understand that Yaakov Frank came from a very ancient sacred bloodline. He was part of the ancient sacred Messianic bloodline, like myself. He was a Merovingian of the highest order. And so he too, because he was initiated and passed along through these ancient bloodlines and networks and secret societies, or really the secret order, seeing the singular. He had access to all of these very ancient, powerful secret teachings. And so he himself became a grandmaster alchemist, just like Jaime Tal. But because Jakob Frank was more divine than Jaime Tal, he became an even greater, even more powerful alchemist than Jaime Tal, okay? Now, his nephew ended up founding the highest, most powerful secret society in Europe at that time, which was linked to the Rosy Cross. So we have to understand that the Jewish Illuminati, have infiltrated all of the secret orders, right? I'm always going on record that the Jews basically own and run the world, okay? We have to understand what is the Hebrew Bible. Quintessentially, the Hebrew Bible is a divine document that states that the Jews are the chosen master race and that they rule and run the world. Now, if you're fluent in Hebrew, you've been initiated and you've mastered the Hebrew Bible in the original Hebrew, you will know without a shadow of a doubt that the Hebrew Bible implicitly states that the Jews rule and run the world. Now, belonging to the holy order of the Zoharim, right? We don't necessarily teach that every Jew is chosen, right? Because when we say the chosen, we're only speaking about a small portion of the Jews at large, right? We're only talking about, maybe 1% of the Jews that we would call chosen and superior, and that, are ruling and running the world, okay? And that rule and run all the secret societies that rule and run the world, okay? So at this point, right, you had total infiltration, right? So you had high-ranking members of the Holy Order of the Zoharim that were the sovereign grandmasters of the secret orders, especially the secret orders in Europe and in the Middle East, okay? So we have the highest, most powerful, most esoteric secret society in Europe at that time, okay? There were several offshoots. One of them was known as the Asiatic Brethren, okay, which was a subdivision of the Rosicrucians or the Rosy Cross, okay? Now, Jakob Frank's headquarters towards the latter part of his life were in Offenbach and Frankfurt, Germany. Now, that should ring a lot of bells to any of you who are initiated and know what's going on, because that's the same headquarters as the Rothschilds, okay? So Jakob Frank was linked and worked very closely alongside the Rothschilds because the Rothschilds are full-blown Frankists like myself, okay? And it was part of his bloodline that ended up founding the Golden Dawn. Now, there are members very, very high up in the Golden Dawn. They got access to very secret documents when they were doing their research into the origins and roots of the Golden Dawn. And what they found out, which I can't reveal here, is that the Golden Dawn was quintessentially founded by Frankists, Jewish Frankists of the highest order that had links going back to Hamashiach Jakob Frank, okay? So what we come to understand, those of you who are listening who are high-level true occultists, who have links to the highest levels of secret societies, you understand and you know that quintessentially the root of all Western Hermetic secret societies is the Jewish Kabbalah, but more specifically the Shabbatain Frankist Kabbalah, which is the highest levels of the Kabbalah, right? So when you look at the Golden Dawn, the Rosicrucians, the Asiatic Brethren, all of the secret orders coming out of Europe, the United States, and even the Middle East, they're all run and controlled and were founded by the highest Jewish grandmasters belonging to the Holy Illuminati, okay? This is a fact. Only those that are at the highest levels know this, okay? Now, Yirah, because he's an amateur, uninitiated, impure Western occultist, right? He doesn't know this. The vast majority of impure, ignorant Western occultists, right? They don't know this, okay? A lot of them are messing around with black magic and with very impure forms of knowledge and science, because they're very ignorant of the true root, core, essence, and roots of the secret orders and who really runs the world, right? But this is all by design, by the way. This is all by design. Now, I could go on for a very long time, getting very deep into this, explaining all of this. My only intention was to just give you a very, very brief summary on these very holy esoteric matters. Now, I have 3 links in the description that expound much more on these matters. My suggestion and hope is that many of you will go to those links and will read up and do your homework and verify that what I'm telling you is very, very true. But if you're already near or at my level, you already know this is all true. Okay, so again, to conclude, oh, by the way, one last point. You might also want to do some research on the sovereign grandmaster of all secret orders, which was the Baal Shem of London. He was the highest, most powerful divine Jew who ran and controlled all of Europe, the Middle East, probably most of the world, and ran all secret orders. Okay, there's only a handful of people that know about this, right? Myself included. But you can go do your research on him and you can see why we Jews, why we are the chosen, and why we run the world. Okay, now I say all of this basically to prove to you that Yirah, again, he's been destroyed, he's been demolished. And with this video, it's absolutely over. I mean, I've exposed the exceedingly stupidity and ignorance of Yirah. Because what Yirah doesn't know is that the Jews run the world, that all of the secret orders were founded and run by Jewish grandmasters who are all Shabbatain Frankists like myself, and that if he is a 32nd degree Freemason, whatever level of Freemasonry he's at, he doesn't know how high up the ladder really goes. He's really fucking stupid and ignorant, to say the least, as I've just proven and demonstrated in this video, okay? So with that said, shalom wa salam.